Hey guys, it's Callus with some more ADV action, and I'm pretty excited about this set, not only because it is for a Pokemon Perfect tournament, which means I get to promote the website I've been working really hard to do things for. Pokemon Perfect is the place to play old gens. You guys should absolutely check it out. There's a link in the description. And also because I like promoting up and coming ADV players and unknown ADV players. These guys have both actually been around for a little while, but they're probably unknown to the average ADV viewer. So on the bottom, playing on Roy Skywalker, is a guy who goes by a bunch of names, but he's most commonly known in the ADV community as Shortage. And I can tell you, even though you probably haven't heard of this guy, he really truly can play. This guy's actually quite good. He's one of the unknown ADV guys that really belongs more highly rated than where he is. Sstj is a Chinese player who's well known in that community, but has only recently gotten involved with the mainstream ADV community, and he too, even though he's relatively new to the tier, has had quite a bit of success. He's hit 1500 ladder very, very quickly. He competes regularly and does friendlies against Lanier and Markop and other top guys, and he holds his own, so I mean, this guy can really play too. They got paired in the round of 16 here, so they're playing to be part of the top 8 in this Pokemon Perfect ADV tour. And, I mean, it's kind of an unfortunate pairing because these guys are both really good, but the field overall is loaded. So, inevitably, there's just going to be some really strong pairings, and not everybody can make the top 8. But at least one of these strong players is going to be there, and we're going to find out who in this best of 3 series. Here is game 1. So Shortage, like I said, he's on the Roy Skywalker alt, is on the bottom. Sstj is on the top. We've got a Zapdos lead against the T-Tower lead. Those are the two most common leads in the gen, and it's a Protect and a Rock Slide respectively. But it gets switched up here to a Focus Punch. Makes sense, right? Because a Rock Resist, Swampert is going to come in. It does, and he takes the Focus Punch for 39%. Swampert does not, or he does have lefties. For a second there, it looked like he didn't. I thought it was an Endeavor perk, but he does have lefties. And here comes Fortress for Shortage, switching in. Venusaur, he's got to be careful. Not only could Venusaur have HP Fire, but he almost certainly is going to have Sleep Powder, which it shows he does, in fact, have Sleep Powder. That connects with Bliss. So we have a clear stall team here of some kind for Shortage. Sstj looks to have a Venusaur team, which is typically also a stall team. We might actually have a Fortress Mirror match here, which tends to be very, very snowbally. Once one of the guys kills the other guy's Spiker, usually it's a huge, huge advantage and just a big domino effect from there. But Sstj has actually paired his Venusaur with Skarmory instead of its more common partner in Fortress. So we'll see what difference that makes in the matchup. Spikes number 1 go down for Sstj. Shortage here gets taunted, and he did not go for the immediate Rapid Spin. He tried to spike up. Rapid Spin is obvious now, but there might be a Gengar switch. See if he goes for it anyway. And he does, and there's no punishment for Sstj. He simply goes to Venusaur here. Does take a little bit of damage on the Rapid Spin, which stays because of the sand, so I mean it matters more than 0. But nothing happens from there. No Sleep Powder, no HP Fire. And Shortage does scout for those things just in case, going to Zapdos here. T-Tar came back in, goes Focus Punch, Protect, because why not? Doesn't really gain anything by doing that, but also doesn't really lose anything. We know the T-Tar is not Choice Band locked, so scouting there doesn't really matter unless the T-Tar happened to show a new move, which he didn't. And Shortage going to outpredict Sstj there. Sstj thought that maybe Zapdos would switch out of the way of the Rock Slide, therefore he can get away with a Focus Punch, but Shortage called him on it and went straight for Thunderbolt, risking the Rock Slide that didn't come. However, Sstj now is going to show some balls, go for Focus Punch again, even though he just got called, making that exact same play, and this time he's going to be rewarded for doing that. He hits the Swampert with a Focus Punch once again. Good prediction here for Shortage, knowing there would be a switch. Doesn't bother to go for Protect and waste it. He instead takes the opportunity to do more than nothing, which is what Protect would have done. Gets the Surf off for 14% damage on Venusaur. It all adds up. It all counts. So that was a good prediction there for him. And now Venusaur shows Leech Seed, which they all have. Here comes Blissey. And there's Leech Seed again. That's going to get Venusaur presumably right back up to full health, mooching off that huge HP pool from the Bliss. Venusaur does go back up to 100%. Neither player has spikes down right now. There's a spinner for Shortage. Don't know if Sstj has one or not, but he still has 3 pokes unrevealed, and there's one on the bottom unrevealed as well. Focus Punch again into the Zapdos. A lot of balls to continuously make that play, and he's been rewarded for it several times. Swampert has been Focus Punched 3 times in this game, and it's down to 21% after lefties. T-Tar maybe could have even stayed in there and gone for the throat, but he instead goes for Venusaur knowing that there will be a Protect. This is going to enable Swampert to get another Protect off, so he's going to heal up to 35% about. That's definitely going to help. 33% rather, and Leech Seed there is going to miss via the Protect. Swampert's not in great shape though. He's not going to be able to take another Focus Punch, so Shortage is going to have to be careful here, and that's going to enable him. I mean, if he decides, you know, I really don't want to switch Swampert in, maybe I should just stay in and Thunderbolt and not risk it. Sstj, if he picks up on that, could just go for Rock Slide and nail that Zapdos. So Shortage is going to have to play very, very carefully here. It doesn't look like he has anything at all other than that Swampert that's remotely designed to tank physical hits. But at the same time, I really doubt, looking at Sstj's team, that he's really super a physical sweeper kind of team either. He may have something like an Aerodactyl, or maybe even less likely, but possibly a Salamence in the back. But it's definitely not a physical overload team. It's definitely a Venusaur TSS, the same way he's playing against a Fortress TSS. So even though the teams look different, and they are different, they are still the same general archetype. One went the Venusaur route, one went the Foray route, but they're both essentially trying to do the same thing, which is spike up and use the residual damage between the sand, the spikes, toxics that may be there, etc., to basically wear the opponent down and stall them out. And Fortress is going to beat Scum one-on-one all day. It has nothing to fear. It can rapid spin away the spikes. It can lay its own spikes, even though this particular Scum does have Taunt to prevent that. But Fortress here could just sit in and rapid spin forever and ever and ever until Sstj shows him something that says otherwise. Hasn't done that so far. Venusaur comes in, steps on a spike, and takes 6% from rapid spin. The spike's advantage belongs to Shortage on the bottom, but remember, he does have that low Swampert, so this is still a really close game. Whether or not Sstj can remove the spikes, yet to be determined. Still has 2 hidden pokes. Goes Focus Punch again. Gets called this time by Shortage with the Earthquake here. 36%. I don't like that play as much for Sstj because it's really unlikely that this T-Tar has Fire Blast or Flamethrower, so there's very little drawback for the Fortress to stay in and attack. There's really nothing that the T-Tar can actually threaten the Fortress with other than a Fire attack, which we can very safely assume it does not have. Sstj does have Moltres, however, which is sometimes paired on these Venusaur teams. Sunny's got a team with Moltres and Heracross. Fire Blast there into the T-Tower. Last poke Aerodactyl for Shortage. That comes in on Fire Blast. Takes 46% despite resisting it because Moltres hits that hard. But Aerodactyl, of course, is faster here. Is going to scare the Moltres out with the threat of the one-hit KO Rock Slide. And a great double switch from Shortage, using this opportunity, knowing that there would be a switch from the Moltres to get his Blissey in and heal it up, which is exactly what he wanted to do. So we've seen a number of good predictions from both players in this game. This is pretty high-level ADV. These guys both really know what they're doing. Toxic and Wish here. Let's see who needs that. Zapdos is at a hundo. Swampert definitely needs it. This is a great time for it. Fortress is at a hundo. Arrow at 54. T-Tar 82. So the obvious target is the Swampert. But he passed it to his Fortress instead. I wonder what he was afraid of there. Maybe he was playing around a Roar that did not come. It was just a Surf, but Fortress comes in safely. He gets a 3rd layer of spikes down, and it seems unlikely to me, given the rest of the team, that the last Pokemon for Sstj would be a spinner. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me here. Just going over the spinners in my head, whether it would be a Claydol, a Starmie, a Donphan, just none of those really seem to fit based on what he's already shown. So I'm going to say those spikes are probably there to stay. And if that is the case, then at least 3 of those Pokemon, if not 4, depending on what the last poke is, are vulnerable to those spikes. You've got to think that Shortage, even though his Swampert is still relatively low, you've got to think that Shortage has some kind of advantage at this point. You can't dismiss the fact that he has 3 layers of spikes down. He missed an opportunity there to KO the tower had he gone for Earthquake, but I understand why he didn't. And we end up with tower on Blissey here. Bliss has to be careful. Tower makes the aggressive play, and Earthquake 30%. Seismic Toss comes down. T-Tower knocked down into the red even after lefties. He's only got 17%, but Bliss has to watch the Rock Slide here. Fortress comes in. Rock Slide does come down, 27%. Fortress can KO Tower from here, and Tower's kind of in a damned if you do, damned if you don't position because it will die to the spikes the next time that it comes in. Sstj decides to get rid of it, so he's going to keep it as fodder. He can kill it on the spikes at any time. Free switch to Moltres on the EQ. Here's an opportunity to damage something. Goes for Hidden Power this time. That's going to be HP Grass because Ice would have been super effective there. Grass going to be neutral against Aerodactyl. 35%, decent chunk, but Arrow lives is the most important thing. Retaliates with the obvious Rock Slide here. Skarm comes in 40%. Takes quite a bit there. He does not have the defensive investment that he might normally have because he has to invest heavily in speed because he is Taunt Skarm, which is why he doesn't take that as well as he could. And also Aerodactyl could be Adamant in this instance, which makes sense when he is not paired with Magneton and cannot remove Skarm, so he needs to kind of punch his way through it. So that very well could be an Adamant Aerodactyl. Venusaur comes in, it's paralyzed, he steps on spikes. Venusaur soft-boils up, Blissey soft-boils up. Venusaur can Leech Seed here or Sleep Powder. Seismic Toss comes down, fishing for a full power or a miss. Gets neither, however. Leech Seed does connect through the imperfect accuracy and the paralysis, and that will keep Venusaur safe from another S-Toss. Ice Beam dangerous here, may or may not kill. Blissey, we know, does not have that, however. We see here the full move set. Thunder Wave, Soft Boiled Wish, and Toss. And Zapdos comes into another Leech Seed. Good prediction for Sstj. Venusaur, who was very low a moment ago, is now back up to the magic number. And he'll be even higher here as he connects once again with Leech Seed on the Blissey. So Venusaur has miraculously gone from the red all the way up to 98% through the power of Leech Seed. And finally, a full paralysis comes in. But that was a good sequence for Sstj. A great recovery to get the Venusaur very, very healthy and relevant in this game again. Hidden Power comes down super effective, so HP Ice from Zapdos as opposed to HP Grass. Protect, Thunderbolt, Hidden Power, last move, probably a status move. I don't see a lot of purpose for Baton Pass when he has no Trapper and no Intimidate to pass to. So the question becomes, does he have Toxic? That's the one thing that Swampert, who identifies that he's safe here, is afraid of. There's no HP Grass. The only thing he really would care about is Toxic. And he's going to take the chance, not play around it, not scout for it. He stays in, says if he has it, he has it. It very well may be a Refresh Pert. We've only seen Surf and Toxic. So if it is in fact a Refresh Pert against an HP Ice Zapdos, the Pert is essentially completely safe. But Zapdos did not show Toxic, if indeed he has it at all. And Swampert shows Protect now, so it is in fact looking like that famous Mono Pert that BKC initially popularized, and then Gaku and a couple other players started using it a lot. I know Asta likes it. So Mono Pert has two variants, but basically it's Mono Pert because the only attack that it has is a water attack in Surf. It's going to have Protect, and then from there you have to decide what's the most important to you. Toxic, Refresh, or Roar. You get to pick two of those three. And it seems for Sstj he has Toxic, Surf, Protect. Don't know the last move. Like I said, going to be either Refresh or Roar, both of which would make a lot of sense here. Refresh is going to keep the Swampert safe from things like this exact situation against the Zapdos that may or may not have Toxic. And then Roar, of course, is very valuable, not only to have a non-trappable phaser, get you out of some bad situations, but also can be abusive when he's got Spikes, which clearly his team intends to have with the Skarm. He has not succeeded in keeping those down in this game because the Fortress, which seems to be a tough poke for his team as in general. But yeah, generally speaking, against an open field, Roar and Spikes, good combo. Been around since the dawn of time. Toxic misses on Blissey. Hits on the second attempt, however. And she's going to go for Wish, so I will once again check the other pokes. T-Tower doesn't care. Aerodactyl could use it, but he would die to a Surf on the way in. Fortress is probably a good target, and that is in fact what he goes with. And of course, he had his own Swampert that he could have passed that to, but he's probably worried about getting hit with a Toxic on the way in should Sstj make that prediction. He did go for the Surf. It's going to do a little bit to Fortress, but Fortress recovers very nicely. The Wish Bliss has been very relevant for Shortage this game. 4E up to 96% now, very healthy, and in comes Bliss once again. This is one of the shortcomings of the Mono Pert. It really, really lacks offense. It's a fantastic, reliable wall, but it can do absolutely nothing against Blissey, and especially when it's Wish Blissey, who can do things other than just play for herself. That's very, very bad because it gives Shortage an opportunity to heal other things that were previously whittled down for Sstj and undo a lot of the work that he had done. And wow, Sstj with one knockout is going to forfeit here. Only one poke went down this whole game, but he's really not liking his position. And this may look premature on paper, but I don't know that it was. The 3 spikes are down that he can't remove. His T-Tire is essentially dead. It would die to the spikes the next time it comes in. The Swampert is hard-walled by the Blissey. Moltres is more or less hard-walled by the Blissey. The Skarmory cannot beat the Fortress. I don't know what the last poke is, but as abrupt as this forfeit may have seemed, I don't know that it was premature. I really don't know what Sstj could have done, especially he knows his last poke. We don't know what it is. But I mean, if it's not some absolute miracle poke that just matches up perfectly, which it clearly was not, I really don't know what he could have had to get out of this. I think he was in some trouble, and I don't know that this was necessarily a premature forfeit. So he's going to concede, and game 1 is going to go to Shortage. But remember, this is best of 3. So stay tuned for the second game. Thumbs up if you liked this game, and I will see you guys there.